folks. Welcome to Market Technical Analysis by InTheMoneyStocks.com, your leaders in pure technical analysis, avoiding Wall Street hype. Well, we get into today's video for February 27th, 2008 on this Wednesday, and it was quite an interesting day for multiple reasons. We saw a lot of volatility early in the day, and as the day went on, volume began to dry up, and the chart will show that here as we're going to go right into it. So here we're going to look at the ES futures chart again, and this is the E-mini March '08 contract, and again the 10-minute intraday candle chart. And what you can see here is that we had a dramatic move in the market early on in the day. We held the gains for a while, but ultimately we gave up most of those gains, and we settled into a nice tight trading range, basically flat on the day. The S&P was down slightly, the Dow was up about 10 points, and the Nasdaq was up about 9 points. So overall, it was a flat day, and again, you guys will remember yesterday we talked about you need a pause day, you need a small pullback day, something in that realm to let this market sit around and regain strength for another push up if that's going to come. Now we're going to continue to look at the charts, and we think that there may be one more push in this market before the next shoe drops, and we see new lows, possibly all the way down to January lows, if not even lower. So again, here, as I get out my trend tool here, we'll start looking at this intraday market and then go right into the daily charts to see what it tells us. And you can see early on, we had some economic data out this morning. We had some news at 8:30, and then we also had Bernanke, and we had new home sales at 10 o'clock. Bernanke was testifying. He will testify again tomorrow before the Senate, and that is going to create a little bit of extra volatility. You can see right around 11 o'clock, you got a major spike up in the market. All right, there was a big trigger buy program that came in there. We were initially down early in the day. We rallied to about the flat line and flip-flopped here until we got that big buy program. Once we got that buy program, we settled into a kind of trading pattern to the sideways here, where you could buy and sell the highs and lows. And you can see here we dipped down to the lows. You could have bought that a nice push up to the highs, back down to the lows. One more attempt at the highs, and then ultimately you just hit the downside too many times, breaking down all the way through multiple moving averages, in fact, taking out the 20, the 50, and the 200 here on the ES, ultimately getting a nice bounce underneath and trading back to the 20 moving average. Now, again, you can see here the volatility early in the day, right? And then here you can look at the volume as well. You look at the volume over here early in the day, and then look at the midday volume, which was dead, and a little later in the day, usually you pick up after lunch, and you can see a slight bit of upticking in volume, but ultimately a very, very light day. Going into lunch, we had already done 1 million contracts, and usually you can multiply that by 2, if not more, for the afternoon. We didn't even do 2 million contracts on the ES by the end of the day, so it shows you the light volume in the afternoon trading ever since this big pop right here, which you can see the volume spike all the way up here on that move. Now, there were some key movers out there in the market, and we're going to get into those stocks in a minute, but I just want to touch on one thing, just the continued success of the chat room in regards to the E-minis now being incorporated. Multiple trades today that were all profitable for the E-minis as we continue to make headway in creating a better chat room for everyone. Overall, just a phenomenal product out there, and we hope you all come and join us soon. Now let's get right into the daily market, and then we'll talk about a few different stocks. What I want to talk about, number one, is the Nasdaq. Now the Nasdaq showed a little extra strength today. Percentage-wise, it was up more than the Dow and the S&P. The S&P, as I mentioned earlier, was slightly negative by a point. But what you see here is it's still trying to creep above that 20 moving average. Now what you want to see in this situation, I wouldn't necessarily like a major push up above this. Even if we do get it, maybe you get a pop up to this high. But at this point, you're seeing it getting a little too much extended. You have the low 4 days ago was down here, and since then it's moved all the way up here. So what you really ideally want to see is a consolidation sideways to slightly down, just staying right around this 20 moving average. And should we get that chart pattern, that would indicate that we have a possible another move higher in this market. So watch for that, maybe a sideways trading. Maybe we hit the top here on this February high right here, as you can see drawn in. You know, we maybe tick up there, but ultimately you want to see a sideways trading pattern and then one more push up. Ultimately, I think the market has a shot, or we think the market has a shot to go up to this level, which at that point in the chart should coincide with this point here, as you see that 50 moving average moving lower. All right, and again, just always keep tight stops on your positions here. Keep stops. You always want to protect the downside because there will be another shoe to drop, we do feel, and you can see the market easily take out February lows, and once they take out those February lows, it's just a quick shot down to the January lows and possibly lower. So there's a plenty of downside available. It's just that we do think that the market has one more possible push after we need to see consolidation. Again, a sideways trading pattern to a lower trading pattern before one more push. All right, so Let's take a look here at the SPY quickly here to focus in. And you can see here, perfectly done. The SPY hit the 50 moving average today on that push up and sold off. Usually that first hit of the 50 moving average is always a good opportunity to go on the short side. Once you hit that on the daily today, it was a nice shorting opportunity all the way back to the lows, which came down here before the market moved up a little back into the close. So we're going to continue to watch this, but again on the SPY, you've already had a major move up here from the lows. A 4-day push. Well, you can consider today was a slight, an average day, basically a flat day. So a 3-day major push, but ultimately earlier in the day we were up even higher, creating a 4-day push before the pullback to close flat. So today was the first flat day that we were been calling for yesterday. We'd like to see that continue. Maybe a small pullback come into position here, making way for a possible another move higher. You can also see the next area of resistance would probably be this February high on the chart. On the downside, the same thing applies as with the Nasdaq. You have the February lows. Obviously, if you close below the 20 moving average, that's negative as well. But you'd want to see confirmation there to make sure it's just not a whipsaw day where you close below and the next day you pop right back up. But then February lows, January lows, and so forth. Okay? Now, let's take a look at the QQQQ just to touch base on that. But then I want to get right into a couple different stocks that were moving today. And you can still see, you still got these ranges on all these stock charts. You still got that general triangle situation, but again, keep in mind it's more so the chart pattern, and you can disregard the triangle as long as you have positive chart patterns here that are giving you better signals. All right, a triangle just gives you a general view of where the market's trending, as it is, whether it's a slanting up triangle and vice versa. But again, you can see in the Qs you've had that major move higher, and you need to kind of pause here if we're going to have a healthy market. Now, we could scream higher over the next couple days, but believe it or not, we would view that as a more bearish sign for a stronger pullback coming. All right, so keep that in mind as well. Now let's talk about some stocks. We saw some major moves higher here. Remember yesterday we talked about how weak stocks like Google were and the large cap tech, and how the Nasdaq was up, but large cap was not participating. Well, today was the reverse, because the Nasdaq was just barely up today, but on the opposite side, you had Google up 8 points. You had Baidu up 21 points. Apple up 3, almost 4 points. Research in Motion up sizably as well here, trading up almost 4 points on the day. Even Goldman Sachs, and you can see here on Goldman, look at that move on the daily. That's a powerful move, and it makes us think, we got to start watching these financial issues a little to see if there's any sort of bailout coming or any sort of news on the horizon, as that was a pretty powerful move. You got to respect that move. So keep a close eye on that, and just wait on the sidelines on those and just continue to watch the pattern develop. But nonetheless, a very powerful move on Goldman Sachs. Baidu was another strong one. And again, the Shanghai index was up 3% yesterday. So that's partially helping Baidu because it is a Chinese ADR. All right, you can see that powerful move. It actually closed above the 20 moving average, and after hours is trading up another couple points here, although there's very light volume on these positions. The other thing I want to touch base on here is Apple. Now, Apple had a nice move off the lows, and you can see the double bottom on the daily chart right here. Never broke below. You never got to close below this double bottom. You had a powerful move up today of about almost 4 points. After hours, they came out and talked up their sales of the iPhone, some positive news out there, and ultimately you are seeing it pop another, let's see here, about $5 after hours, $5 higher. So that's going to put it somewhere in this range tomorrow off that pop on news. So keep in mind, you got some nice large caps now beginning to participate in this rally of late, which haven't really participated. And you can see the market has moved up over the last 4 days, but look at Apple. You basically have it flat, except for today, which popped. Still defending that double bottom. Another stock I want to draw your attention to that's going to be in play tomorrow, and it's going to be an ugly, ugly catastrophe, it looks like, is Seed, Origin Agritech. Now, we've in the day trading chat played these agri stocks multiple times because they're great movers. They've been in a huge rally mode. And this Seed, Origin Agritech, SEED, which I have the daily chart of right now, you can see it actually had a nice last week, or actually 10 days here. But they came out with earnings after the bell today, and it was not pretty, guys. Not pretty at all. You're seeing Seed getting crushed quite a bit, trading down. I'll show you the level 2 here, as I always try to do on these stocks. You can see it closed at $9.60 today, and we knew earnings were coming out after the bell, and we advised our chat room, stay away from this. Don't go long, don't go short, just stay on the sidelines. We never play earnings, and look at what happened to this stock after hours. Closing at $9.60, now trading at $6.40. After hours, I did see this dip as low as $5.90. Before rebounding back into the low sixes. So that's going to be ugly tomorrow. You may see it affect some of the other Chinese. This is a Chinese agri stock. You may see it affect stocks like GRO, which is another Chinese agri play, and there may be a couple other ones that it kind of clouds the picture for in the near term. All right, so keep a close eye on Seed. It's going to gap down tomorrow quite sizably, and there are tons of shorts in that as well that are going to be very happy with that move lower. All right, that's pretty much all for today, folks. But one more time, I want to impress upon you how great the chat room is going now. We have two moderators on, one featuring more stocks, one featuring the E-minis, and both giving excellent analysis across the board on this market. Questions are accepted. We answer all questions. We do our best to help everyone learn. And the key at InTheMoneyStocks.com is we want everyone to learn it. We just don't want to make calls. We want everyone to learn this stuff so in a year or two, you guys are expert traders on your own without our help. All right, have a wonderful day. Come join the Swing Trade Alerts and the Options Alerts, and we'll see you soon. Take care.